kasha. Koifin karla ne'er shlo yoichaz b'koima. He said that you can overturn a kli onto a candle so that the flame doesn't damage the beam that's above it. Now, yes, last time we said that we can only we can only use a kli to protect something if it's a hatzola mitzuya, if it's something that is frequent. Well, this is not frequent. It's not it should not be considered a common hatzola mitzuya in order to allow you to cover this nair with the kli. The Gemara answers, bavate kachini. These are very low houses where the ceiling is very low. Deshchich behut leika, where this was a case of a hatzola mitzuya, because it's easy for the flame to potentially burn the ceiling. V'chein, another case, korish nishbra. Let's say you have a beam that broke, and you want to support the beam. Soimchin oso besavsal uvaruchas amita. You could drag a bench there, or the long boards of a bed. And again, why should we be able to do that? It's not a hatzola mitzuya, and a broken beam is a dvar muksa because it was broken. We're talking about it broke on Shabbos. It wasn't muchan from before, so you can't be mishtamish with a kli to protect something that's muksa, unless we said it's a hatzola mitzuya. Again, this doesn't seem to be a thing that's a hatzola mitzuya. So the more answers, we're talking about bichshurei chadati. We're talking about new beams, the avidi depaki, that they can rupture. So it is a hatzola mitzuya. It can't. These are things that can happen. Then it says noisnin kli tachas adelav b'Shabbos. If a person has a leaky roof, you can put a kli underneath it. So again, the Gemara says it's not a hatzola mitzuya. Why should we be able to use this kli? Our answer is this is a new house where it wasn't waterproofed yet, and therefore it is a hatzola mitzuya. That's why we're allowed to do it. Now, yesterday we learned that Rav Chizda permitted to cover an egg that was laid, but not to put it underneath the kli, but you could cover it. And we gave one reason why that was. But Rav Yosef says, "Hainu tamid Rav Chizda, mishum d'gemovatel kli mehechano." A new reason that that if you put, why he did not allow to put a kli under the egg, because if you do so, this kli that was muchan already for use of Shabbos, but now you're putting it under a beitza, which you're not allowed to touch. Well, if you can't touch the beitza, you can't touch a kli underneath the beitza. So now you're making the kli not muchan. So that's a problem. That's why, because you're mavatal a kli mechono, you've taken a kli that you were able to use and you've made it muktzah, because it's serving sort of as something that's holding something that's not muchan, which you can't carry either. It's as if you broke the kli. So Abaya asks a question. Chavi shel tevel, we said if there's a barrel of grain that you hadn't taken trumas and maasros from, shenishbar, and it broke, and now grain is flowing out of the barrel, maybe kli acher miniach tachtel. You can bring a kli and put it underneath it. Now I understand. Tevel, l'chura, is something that's not muchan. You can't use it on Shabbos because you haven't given trumas and maasros from it. And if something that's not muchan is going to fill the kli, you're going to be mavatal the kli meichano. So if Rav Chizda's concept is correct, we shouldn't be able to do that. And for the Gemara, Amar lei tevel muchan uetzel Shabbos. Tevel is not considered not muchan, not prepared. Why? She'im ovar v'tikno metukan. You're not allowed to take trumas and maestros, but if someone was over the gzeir drabonon to do it, the tevel is no longer tevel. You'd be allowed to eat it. So in essence, it's considered that it's not muktzah. So that's why you can put the kli to collect it. We ask another kasha. We said that if a nair is giving off sparks, you could put a kli underneath it. Now, again, you're being mevatel the kli meichano because the nitzoitzes are dvar muktzah. It's not a problem here because the Gemara says sparks are not, they have no mamoshus. Rashi says mutar litlon. It's not a problem because it's not, they're not there, the sparks. What about, why should we be allowed to support a broken beam with a bench? You know, once you put the bench there, you can't touch it anymore because it's supporting a dvar muktzah, which is the broken beam. So again, according to this principle of you're not allowed to mevatel kli meichon, you should not be allowed to do that. But we said before we're allowed to do that. Gemara's answer is derafi. We're talking about that the beams were very soft, and it's not really. You could move the bench. The iboy chocolate. The bench is, you put the bench there, it's helping, but it's not vital. It means even if you move the bench, the beam wouldn't collapse. And therefore, if you wanted, you could take the bench. So the Gemara's answer is, in that case, you're really not being mavatal the kli meichono, you could remove it. We ask another kasha. We said, that the rain that comes in leaking, which is muktzah, it's not been prepared from advance of Shabbos, so it's not muchan. Now, something that's not muchan is falling into this kli. You're not allowed to move the kli because of the thing that's inside of it, which is the muktzah water that is dripping in. Again, you're being mevatel the kli meichano. Morris answers bedela faroi. This is you could drink it. You could drink this water, and therefore you'd be allowed to move the kli because the water that's in it is not muktzah. If it was not roy l'shasiya, then in chanami you wouldn't be able to move the kli because the water in there would be muktzah. Then we said koifines asalif na'afroichin sheyalu v'yerdu, that if you have chicks, little baby chickens that were born on Shabbos, and you don't want them to run away, you can cover them with a kli. Now again, the afrochen you can't touch because they're muktzah, because they were created on Shabbos or on Yom Tov. And that's also, so that unless something has been prepared from Bein HaShmoshes the day before, it's not mukhan for that day. So by covering them with a kli, you're removing the kli from usage. You're violating this principle of Rav Chisda, but being mevatel kli meichano. Ksaver muter l'taltalo. So Rav Yosef will hold that you're allowed to touch that kli. For Tanya also l'taltalo. We have a price says you're not allowed to touch it. So our answer is ba'oidin olav. It means if the chicks are in the kli, then you can't touch it. Because since the efrochim are muktzah, the kli is holding something that's muktzah. Just like you can't move something that's muktzah directly, you can't move it indirectly by moving the kli. But the baraita that says you can't touch it is while the chicks are there. But if the chicks have run out of the kli and they're not there anymore, you can touch it. There's a brisa in this sugya that says no, even if the chicks are not on it, you're not allowed to touch it. That's a case when it was already, when the tefrochim were on the kli, bein hashmoshes. And because of a principle of mikud is katzola bein hashmoshes, it's katzol kol alma. And since it became muktzah from use, because let's say the chicks were born then, if it becomes muktzah bein hashmoshes, it's muktzah the whole day. It's a special din. So that means even though now those chicks are not on the kli remains muktzah because it became muktzah bein hashmoshes. This is the principle of migu. Migu is katzola bein hashmoshes is katzol kol on Rav Yitzchak. Just like you cannot put a kli under a chick that's giving birth to accept its beitzah, kach ein koifen alea kli b'shvil shelo tisha. In contradistinction to what we learned, he said you can't cover the egg either with a kli to prevent it from breaking. Why? Because ein kli nitel ela ledavra nitel b'Shabbos. You cannot use a kli for another thing if that other thing is not touchable on Shabbos. And since the egg, that noilid, is going to be muktzah, you can't use a kli to protect it because the item itself that you're trying to protect is something that is muktzah on Shabbos. That's Rav Yitzchak's concept. So meisvei kol hani tiyufta. So the same thing, we asked all these other kashas that we asked, where it seems like you're allowed to move things for things that are muktzah. Vishani, and here the Gemara answers a different answer, b'tzarech limkomo, that the kli that you're using now to cover the egg, you need that place where that kli is. So aga, that you're allowed to move it. Rashi says, "Mitoch sheyach little tzarech makomo, molicho l'makom sheyir," so you can put it wherever you want, even to cover the egg. That's what the Gemara says here. Toshma. So coming here, a proof from a baraisa. Achas beitzah shenoldu b'Shabbos, an egg that's born on Shabbos. Achas beitzah shenoldu b'Yontif, or a beitzah that's born on Yontif. So of course, such an egg is muktzah because it was not muchan from before Shabbos or before Yontif. Ein metalfilin lo lechasos bosakli. You may not move it to cover a kli. Let's say you want to use that egg to close up a bottle with a wide mouth. You can't move it to cover another kli. Or velismach b'karyamita. Or let's say it's a very sturdy egg. You want to use it to support one of the legs of a bed that's shaky. Aval kofa lekli b'shvil shelo tishaveh. But you can move a kli so that it won't break. This seems to be against what Rav Yitzchak says, that ein kli nitel elo dovra nitel b'Shabbos. Chanami, the Gemara answers b'tzarech l'mkomo. Here also, Rav Yitzchak will say it's talking about a case where you move the kli to cover the egg because you needed the place where that kli was. Toshma, give you another attempt to ask a question on Rav Yitzchak. It says, porsin machzolos al gabi avonim b'Shabbos. You can spread mats over stones on Shabbos. Now, stones are something that are muktzah on Shabbos. There's no use for them on Shabbos, unless, for example, Erev Shabbos, you designate them for some usage. So how can you spread mats over avonim on Shabbos? It's using a kli. You're being nittel a kli for davar that's not nittel on Shabbos. So the more answers ba'avonim mikrozolos to chazal besakisei. These are sharpened stones that people would use to clean themselves when they went to the bathroom, and therefore they are roi for Shabbos, and therefore you can use the mat to cover the stones. Then it says Toshma, porson machzos al gabi levenim b'Shabbos. You can take a tarpaulin or some kind of mat to cover bricks that are used to build on Shabbos. Now, bricks are muktzah, machmas malacha, and also you haven't designated them for use. They're muktzah. How can how can you cover them with another kli? We said, ein kli nitel al davar nitel b'Shabbos. More answers. These are left over from being used for construction, and you can sit on them or you can lean on them. The Ishan, says Rashi, and that's how they lean. They would lean on bricks in order to support themselves. So therefore, it's something that is muchan l'Shabbos, and therefore you can cover them because they aren't muchan. Toshma, coming here another right. Porcelain machzeles al gabi kaveres dvorim b'Shabbos. You can cover a honeycomb, a hive of bees, on Shabbos. B'chama b'nei achama, in the summer because of the heat. U'v'ksham in the winter b'nei aksham. U'vilvat shlo iskavin lotzu. As long as you don't have kavana to trap the bees. Because there's another malach on Shabbos of hunting, so you have to have no kavana. And obviously, this is going to go like Rab Shimon, where davar she'eino miskaven is mutter. So your purpose was to protect the bees or the honey. It's not to trap them. So according to Rab Shimon, davar miskaven is mutter. Again, as long as it's not a psik reish, as long as it's not absolutely. We'll see in a minute. It'll probably be something where the bees can get out, because it's not a complete hunting, because otherwise even Rab Shimon is more of a psik reish than it's also. Okay? But here we're dealing, why should we be allowed to cover the honeycomb, the hive with this mat? The honeycomb is muktzah Shabbos. We can't use a kli nitel el davar nitel b'Shabbos. There's not just bees there's honey. And the honey is something that can be used on Shabbos. And for the purpose of the honey, that's okay. It's not the dover muktzah. Fine. That's a good answer for the summer. The kedvash. Because in the summertime, there's honey still there. But the brisa that you quoted said summer and winter. That winter, there's no honey there. So you don't have an answer then. How can you cover it with a thing? So in the honeycomb business, in the wintertime, they would leave little bit of honey in the honeycomb there, in the hive, so that the dvorim have food to eat throughout the winter. And for this honey, you could cover it. Frankly, more about muktzah nindu. What do you mean? They've been designated for use by the bees, not for you. So it's still muktzah for us. Why? How can we cover it? So more answers to choshev alai. You had in mind, even to eat it. And therefore, they're not muktzah regarding you. So the Gemara says, so then, therefore what? If you didn't think about it from Friday to eat in the wintertime, to eat that honey, you're going to say what? Osir? Because we just said it's going to be muktzah iachi. So why then did the brisa have this conclusion of hadatani uvavachlis kavin latsud? The only thing, be careful not to have kavana to hunt them. If you're going to tell me it has to do with whether you're choshev, whether you think about that honey or not, liflog v'lis nebididei. You didn't have to go wide of field of the sugya and talk about hunting. You could have said, when do we permit it? When you had in mind of that honey that's left there. You don't have to come on to this case of Tzeda. So, Kamash Malon, yeah, there's a chiddush here. That don't just because you had in mind the honey, it's still going to be a problem. Because if you have kavana lotzu, it's a problem. Now, mind. Now, there's only two tanoim we have to be worried about in the sugi of muktzah. That's Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yehuda is slay muktzah, Rabbi Shimon less slay muktzah. So, who then is the author of the brisa you just quote? Man. Rabbi Shimon. So, we know, of course, that Rab Shimon holds Davar Shem Miskavin is mutter. But we also know Rab Shimon Leslie Muktzah. Rab Shimon doesn't hold of Muktzah. He's very lenient regarding all these things are not Muktzah on Rab Shimon. So there's no Kashik on Rab Shimon. Rab Shimon Leslie Muktzah. The whole sugi doesn't start. Now, so who do we have left? The only other Tana that's relevant is Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda kilo miskabin ma'avi. Who cares that he's not miskabin? Rabbi Yehuda holds Davar Shem miskabin osir. So there's no solution of Davar Shem miskabin. I Davar Shem miskabin osir. So loyal Rabbi Yehuda. What do we mean with lachli miskabin latzud? Shlo yasenu kimitzuda means you don't make it like a complete trap. You leave some space. So the bees can go out on their own. So even Rabbi Yehuda will hold stop hunting because you didn't build a mouse-proof trap. You didn't hunt it because the reason why you're allowed to do it. It's not that you weren't miscopying. It's not that means according to Rabbi Yehuda, even if you put something down on there that would trap them the Mela, and if you had no kavana to trap them, he wouldn't let you off. But Rabbi Shimon would let you off as long as there's 1% chance that they could get out.
Ernie,
a direction. Yes.
Ernie, how come you're not koshesh that when they're gonna cover this bihar, right? They're gonna cover the bihar.
Yes.
What are they afraid of? They're afraid that the bees are gonna come out and sting them. They're not afraid of the sun or anything. What are they afraid of?
No, the honey. Either the honey was going to hunt. They're trying to protect the honey.
They're trying to protect the honey, okay? They're trying to protect the honey. So why aren't you choishes just like you stirring that you come to stir the coals?
And the bees. The sun might be too hot, might kill bees.
I understand. It's two reasons. Well, they're not. So those two reasons, they want to protect the honey. What do they want to protect? You're not afraid that if they'll do that, that they taka will they'll come to closing the whole thing off and come to trapping. Why aren't we afraid on this in this instance?
Well, if you leave means if you cover it completely with something that they cannot flay out, Rabbi Yehuda would not allow that. You're not hunting them because you've covered it in a way that they can still fly out. You covered them; they're protected.
I understand.
As long as you haven't
one
made
opinion that says that you can, you don't worry about that. The one opinion says that basically, even then.
No, so the Gemara explains. You cannot trap them with a complete trap that's going to seal them in. Then in a chanami, Rabbi Yehuda will ask you to do it. As long as you cover the thing in a way that they could still fly out, that's what the sugya is telling us. That when it says uvachli is kavana lotzu, it had nothing to do with kavana. It had to do with the mitzvah of how you lay the trap.
No, I'm asking if you allow that to be done. You're allowing this to be done. I'll deny that you're going to leave them that space. Aren't we choshesh that you will come not to leave them that space, and then you'll be doing trapping on Shabbos?
Obviously, they're not goyzer. Obviously, the chacham were not goyzer for that.
Okay.
No.
Why is this different to a tanur? You're protecting something. There you're protecting the food. Here you're protecting the honey.
Where is the tanur? Where do we have the case of the tanur?
No, before when we mixing the coals that you'll touch something, so you're not allowed to.
Okay. So there's, you're asking some things the chachamim were goyzer, and something. I mean, if here they're not goyzer because you're covering it. You're worried. Maybe they're going to come to completely cover it. You're going to be over sued. For some reason, the chachamim were not goyzer that. Over there, maybe it's a dover more shchiach of people were going to come to stir the coals that they were goyzer. They made that's going.
Maybe it's more shchiach. Okay, I hear. Okay.
Yeah, maybe it has to do with shchichas. Maybe it has to do with Mesorah. They received the Mesorah that they should be goyzer. It means you're trying to get to the point to try to understand Gedorim. How did the Chazal come to say? Why did they goyzer here, not goyzer? Okay. Rav Ashi Omar, it said something more specific, said Rav Ashi. In the summer because of the sun. Means the Yomei Nisan uva Yomei Tishrei, both in the spring as well as in the autumn. The Ikachama, the Ikatsina, the Ikakshamim, the Ikadvash. So it's referring to a period of time where there was everything. It wasn't just sun and it wasn't just winter and summer. It's referring to the periods of time, Ravash explains, springtime and autumn, where there's sun and there's cold and there's rain and there's honey. And then that's a more practical reason why they would come to cover it. And there's always plenty of honey. Remember, because we asked the Kasha, in Miosak Shamim, there's not going to be any honey there. You don't have to come on to all of that, to the Shtei Chalis Dvash that they left over, etc., because he's saying that it's referring to periods of time where it was shchiach that there was a lot of honey. Okay. Omalu Rav Sheshes. Puku v'imulei Rav Yitzchak. This, what Rav Yitzchak just said, that you don't move a kli for something that's smoked. Ravuna already taught this in Bavel. Dam Ravuna, oisen mechitza lameis b'shvil chai. You can move items to create a mechitza to separate between a corpse, as long as it's going to help the living. But they oisen mechitza lameis b'shvil mace. You can't cover a mace with a blanket or a sheet, because that's moving a kli for a dover she'ein nittul. A mace is muktzah on Shabbos. Someone who died on Shabbos or Yom Tov. So it's muktzah. You can't cover it with a kli, but you could make a mechitza to separate between the mace and living people. Mahi, what does that mean? So a corpse, a dead person is in the backyard. It's hot, and they're worried that the mace is going to disintegrate from the heat. So So two people can come with a chair and sit next to the mace. And if they feel warm from the ground, because the ground is getting hot, so they bring like mattresses, again, also on the side of the mace, because they bring it for themselves, because they want to sit on them, because the ground is very hot. Now it's hot, sort of their upper body. They bring some kind of mat, and they hang the mat on the chair. So they build this like mechitza by itself. It wasn't done in an open way for the tzorach of the mace. It was done for the tzorach of the chai. The nim says mechitza suimele, and then there's a separation for the mace. The Shulchan Aruch says mace amutel b'chama. The ein makom, and there's no place to move the mace. Or shloratzel, though they didn't want to move it. Oisle they anoshim hayosh matzelas prusa b'dem kain oil aroy l'tzorach mace. So they can follow the way the Gemara says, the eitzah that the Gemara says. By the way, the Shulchan Aruch also said you can cover mutar l'chasos kaveres b'machzas b'nechama v'kshamim. You can cover a beehive summer and winter. L'vachli is covering lots, so you have kavana not to hunt. V'sheyesh b'chlal cotton shalei psik reisha. You have to leave a little space when you cover them in order for have to be ability for the bees to fly out, because of the way we said of the psik reisha, that wouldn't be mamish hunting. Back to the Gemara, Itmar. Meisa mutal b'chama. You have a mace in the sun. Rav Yudah Amar, Shmuel, hoichol v'mita l'mita. You can move them from one bed to another until you get to the shade. Rav Chanina bar Shalom, Rav Amar, maniach alav kika or tina. You put either a child or a loaf of bread on the mace, and then you can move them to the shade, because you're moving it for the purpose of the child or the kikar. The mace is just a bossis, l'davar mutter. And they're carrying it because of the dvar mutter. So so if there's a loaf available or a child available, there's no machlokes. Everybody agrees that you're allowed to do that. The only machlokes is about moving the mace from one cot to the other cot until you move them into the shade. That's the leslie. So there's machlokes. If you don't have a kikar tinok, you're allowed to do this other maneuver of hoichom mitlinit marsavar tiltul manatzad shmei tiltul. Even though moving it from cot to cot, that's not the normal way of moving something. It's still called tiltul, and you're not allowed to do it. Umarsavar lo shmei tiltul means if you do something b'shinui, it's not regular tiltul, and you're allowed to do it. So this Rabbi Yehuda and Shmuel here, Rav Chanin, these are machlokes on Roy. Morris thinks that we can find a similar machlokes regarding Tanoim, Lema Ketanoim. It says, Ein matzilin sameis b'nei adleika. Let's say there's a corpse in a house, and the house is on fire. Tanakama says that you cannot move the mace out of there. On Ravina ben Lakish, Shomati shematzilin sameis b'nei adleika. I had heard that you can remove the mace. So that's l'chora machlokes Tanoim. More wants to know the case.
That's obviously talking about Shabbos.
We're talking about Shabbos. So more says hechidon. If there's a loaf or a baby, so why do we say in matzil sameis b'nei adleika, the Tanakama, my Tanakama? We said everybody agrees if you have a kik or a tinok, you can move the mace for something that is permitted to move. If there's no kik or a tinok, the my time Rabbi Yehuda ben Lakish. So why did Rabbi Yehuda ben Lakish permit it? They're arguing in this very thing that we thought that Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Chanim Bar Shlamim were arguing. That means you wouldn't move the mace directly, but you'd move them from cot to cot till he's out of the building. The Marsav tiltul not such made tiltul, Umarsav losh made tiltul. So the Gemara is wondering, have we identified a machlokes, an earlier machlokes Tanoim regarding the same issue? Gemara says lo. The kulam tiltul not such made tiltul. No, really, even moving something in an unusual way is still called tiltul. That means the person who holds like that could argue that way. And then he would say, what would be the reason for Rabbi Yehuda ben Lakish to permit you to do it? I don't know Rabbi Yehuda ben Lakish. A different svar, a svar of mitoch. Mitoch she'adam bol al-mesa. Person is so confused, so excited because his relative died. Let's say it's his relative. Elo sharisle. If you don't permit him to move the mace, also l'kibuyi. So this is a gzeira, Walter. Here, Chachamim were concerned that if we don't give you an out through moving the mace out of there, you're going to come to extinguish the flame. That's an Isser D'Oraisa. Muktzah is only an Isser Midrabanan. All of Muktzah is Isser D'Rabanan. So here, they rather would permitted you tiltul menatzad rather than coming to be mechabed lake.
Yeah, but trapping's an Isser D'Oraisa too.
Where did you see that they allowed trapping?
No, I'm just saying that.
Okay, but l'chora, here they were much more concerned about it because of the emotions of people. Here it was mamish something that they saw was shchiach.
Let me ask you: does the chala or the baby do they mekabel tuma because when they move them? Can a child get tuma?
Yeah.
In other words, they put the child on the mace. They moved the mace.
But you as a non-Kohen, you can eat tuma. You can eat a piece of bread that became tummy. Only Kohanim stay away from tummy because I got to work in the base of Migdash. But there's no so most of us are tummy anyway. So the
I'm
baby,
just asking a question. It's not.
Yeah, the baby becomes tummy, and the challah becomes tummy. Says the Shulchan Aruch. This is an Orach Chaim Shin Yud Aleph. Meis hamunach b'makom sheyesh tleika. If you have a corpse in a house that's burning, If you don't have the loaf of bread or child, you can use this heter of moving him from cot to cot until you take him out of the house. And says the Shulchan Aruch. If you don't have cots to move him from cot to cot, you can carry him out directly. Because again, it's just muktzah. And here, they lift the gzeira of muktzah because they're worried that because you're bol al meso, you're going to come to extinguish the fire. That's only bidleika. In the sun, you have to do it. In the way the Gemara described. We're on Mem Daled Amid Aleph, 44.